All right. So today, let's dive into something I think everyone has some experience with. We all have stories about bad bosses, right?
Well,
You shared an article with me called Six Things Terrible Bosses Do That Make Their Talented Employees Quit. And honestly,
mhm.
just the title alone, I was like, oh, we gotta talk about this.
Yeah, this is a good one. It's interesting because we see a lot of articles about, what makes a bad boss, from the employee's side.
Right.
But this one kind of flips the script and it gives you a little bit more of a boss's perspective, I think, on what not to do.
Totally. And it's like we all know that micromanaging is like the worst, right?
Oh, yeah.
But this article actually like digs into like why it's so damaging.
Right.
And they say it's really about this like lack of trust.
You have to think about it. If you're constantly being questioned about every little thing you do, it's almost like they're saying, I don't think you're capable of doing this job.
Right.
And that just like chips away at your confidence, your motivation, your sense of ownership over the work you're doing.
It's like you always have someone looking over your shoulder just waiting for you to mess up.
Exactly. And it really speaks to that human need for autonomy. We all want to feel like we have at least some control, over what we're doing, some space to make our own decisions and, be trusted to figure things out.
And that actually leads perfectly into the next point from the article, which is all about recognition.
Yes.
And I know what you're thinking. Here we go, another like, pat on the back,
Right.
Rewards,
Oh,
bonuses.
exactly.
But it's deeper than that.
It is. It's much deeper than that. It's about recognizing the human being behind the work. Sometimes even just a simple thank you or, a genuine compliment on something that they did well can go such a long way.
It's about feeling seen and appreciated for the work that you're doing.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, like I put my all into this
Yeah.
and somebody noticed.
Right. And it makes you feel valued.
Totally.
And the good thing is it doesn't have to be this grand gesture. A culture where even small wins are acknowledged consistently is going to be so much better than, never getting recognized for the work that you do.
Which is a great segue into another thing that can really make or break a workplace.
Yeah.
Honesty. And this article does not mince words
Right.
about how important this is.
And for good reason. If you have a dishonest leader, it can be really toxic for everyone.
Yeah, and it makes you start to question, like, wait, if they're not being straight with me about, X, Y, and Z, then what else are they not being honest about?
Exactly.
And the article even says there's this one line, when we catch the boss lying, it becomes difficult for us to believe in what the company stands for.
You start to question everything.
Huh.
And that kind of suspicion,
Mm.
it just creates this environment where people aren't thriving. They're not doing their best work because they're constantly wondering, what's really going on.
Mm.
And it can really damage the team dynamic.
For sure. And speaking of things that can be damaging, let's talk about bosses who just shut down any kind of feedback.
Oh, yeah. The my way or the highway types.
Exactly.
They might think they're, streamlining things and making things more efficient,
Right.
but they're really just like, killing any chance of innovation.
It's like that old saying, two heads are better than one.
Right.
But in this case, like one of the heads is like, nope, I'm doing all the thinking.
Exactly. And it's such a shame because when you have a team of people and they all feel comfortable speaking their mind,
Right.
sharing their ideas,
Right.
even disagreeing sometimes,
Right.
that's where you get the really good stuff.
Yeah. Some of the best ideas come from the most unexpected places.
Exactly.
But you have to have that environment where people feel comfortable enough to even, speak up in the first place.
Absolutely. And the article talked about how it's really up to leaders to cultivate a culture of open communication, whether that's, scheduling brainstorming sessions,
Right.
having regular check-ins where you're asking for feedback, just being approachable so people feel like they can come to you.
Yeah, it's about creating a space where people feel like they can take a risk.
Yes.
And it's not going to be like shot down immediately.
Exactly.
All right, so let's shift gears a little bit. The article also talks about something that I think is super relatable these days,
Okay.
and that is burnout.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a big issue,
It's huge.
and it's often like made worse by these bosses that we're talking about. This whole idea that, you have to work longer hours to be more productive.
Right, right. You have to be on all the time.
Yes. I've definitely had those moments where I'm just like staring at my computer, I'm fried.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel this pressure to just keep going.
Right. And you feel guilty if you're not always working. But the article actually brings up some research that shows that working more than 50 hours a week
Yeah.
actually makes you less productive.
Oh, wow. So like there's actual science to back this up.
Oh, yeah. This isn't just like, some theory.
Oh,
There have been studies Basically, what they found is that when you're overworked, your brain just can't function at the same level. You lose focus, you make more mistakes,
Right.
and your creativity really takes a hit.
Interesting.
Your brain needs a break.
So it's not just bad for morale, it's actually bad for the bottom line.
It's not just about, like, working people to the bone.
Right.
It's about being smart about how you're using your time and your team's time.
Totally.
And sometimes that means encouraging people to actually step away, take a break, come back refreshed.
Yeah, for sure. And on that note of kind of like respecting your employees and like building them up, the article's last point really stuck with me.
Okay.
And that is like hiring and promoting the wrong people.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It can be so damaging.
It can be.
Yeah.
And it's not always about, like, someone being completely incompetent.
Right.
Sometimes it's just a matter of, they're really good at their job,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't have the skills to be a leader.
Right.
Or maybe they don't have the right personality for it.
Yes. I've definitely seen that happen where someone gets promoted and it's like, oh, this person is really good at like, A, B, and C.
Right.
But they have zero people skills.
Exactly.
And it just like tanks the morale of the whole team.
And it's demoralizing for the
Mhm.
people who are like, I've been here, I've been doing the work.
Right.
I thought this was going to be, rewarded.
It feels like such a slap in the face.
Yeah. And it makes you question the whole system,
Totally. Like, why am I even trying?
If they're going to promote this person over here who's clearly not, the best fit,
Yeah.
then what am I doing here?
Exactly. And it's one thing if it's just like a one-off thing,
Right.
but the article was saying this can actually become like a pattern.
Oh, yeah, it can become a huge problem.
Yeah.
Because then your top performers, the people you really want to keep, they see this happening.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I'm out of here.
Exactly.
And you're losing your best people.
So for our listeners who are maybe in this situation, like how do you even begin to address that? It's not always easy to just be like, hey, can you change your hiring practices?
Right. You can't exactly like walk into your boss's office and be like, you're hiring all the wrong people.
Exactly.
But you can start by just, voicing what's important to you.
Right.
Advocate for transparency. When there are promotion decisions, like, talk about what you value in a leader and celebrate your colleagues who are really embodying those things.
Right. Like if you see something, say something.
Exactly. And, if you are in a position of leadership, don't just look at, what's on someone's resume.
Mm-hmm.
Think about their emotional intelligence, how they communicate with others. Are they a team player?
It's about the bigger picture.
Exactly.
Those are the things that are going to create a good work environment for everyone.
Exactly.
Well, this has been amazing. Honestly, this article has given me so much to think about.
Me too. It's a good reminder that we all have a role to play in, creating a positive workplace.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're the boss or you're just starting out.
Such a good point. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for diving into this with us. We'll see you next time.